Alright, welcome back to WMMA Scene Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to the WMMA Scene Report, episode number 71, our regular show where we go over everything going on within the world of women's mixed martial arts. Not going to waste any time on niceties. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get down into last week's fights. We're going all the way back to last Tuesday, Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series at week 2? Week 2, strawweight fight. Corey McKenna defeated Vanessa Demopoulos via unanimous decision. McKenna climbed to 5-1. Demopoulos fell to 5-2. This fight is a good lesson in why it is not good to just be so willing to go to your back and to work off of your back in MMA. Demopoulos just was outworked, out-controlled. She went for a lot of subs, but was unable to really latch any on too tightly or to really threaten or to really win any of the rounds. Got outworked on the feet, although I do like her left overhand. She landed that practically every time she threw it. But Corey McKenna, very promising young fighter, only 21 years old. She got signed to the UFC, already has her first fight booked against Kay Hansen, so keep an eye on her. Next up, we're going to CFFC 83 strawweight main event. Vacant title fight. Elise Reed defeated Jasmine Jasudavicius via split decision. Reed climbed to 2-0. Jasudavicius fell to 4-1. Elise Reed, big underdog in this fight, coming away with a win. Just did a review on this. Published it yesterday. Go check it out. Reed had a perfect game plan and followed it. Came away with the win. Big upset there. Congrats to Elise Reed. Then we're going to Saturday, UFC 252. Two ladies fights, both of them in the strawweight division. First up, Livia Hanata Souza defeated Ashley Yoder via unanimous decision. Souza climbed to 14-2. Yoder fell to 7-6. Souza just outworked Yoder. Yoder made a lot of dumb mistakes, like bad mistakes. Pretty much every time she went to take the back, she was too high, went over the top, and gave up position. Also on that card, like I said, at strawweight, Verna Jandiroba defeated Felice Herrig via submission due to armbar. Minute 44 seconds, round one of round one. Jandiroba climbed to 16-1. Herrig fell to 14-9. Smooth is how you would describe the way Jandiroba worked in that fight to get to that armbar. Just smooth transitions, didn't force anything, was all technique. Just very nice win for her. Herrig just coming back after almost 2 years off and suffered a second straight loss. Then we're going to Monday. Actually, this was like Monday morning in Korea, but Sunday evening here. AFC 14, an atomweight bout. Jay Che defeated Eunbi Cho via decision. Che climbed to 3-4. Cho fell to 0-3. I did a review on this fight as well if you want to go check it out. I'll tell you what, Jay Che, for someone who only started MMA from nothing, from scratch, after she had already turned 30. She's only been fighting for maybe 2.5 years. She's 34 now. For someone who started with no martial arts background, her technical striking is actually very nice to watch. Very technical, very clean striking. Just needs to work on her speed and power. Not sure if she'll be able to gain any speed, being she's already in her mid-30s, but it'll be nice to watch. Moving along to this past Tuesday, just 2 days ago, Dana White's Contender Series, going back to the strawweight division. Cheyenne Bays defeated Hillary Rose via unanimous decision. Bays climbed to 5-1. Rose fell to 4-2. Bays just dominated this fight pretty much. I mean, a lot of nice striking, nice work on the ground. Just all-around dominance from Cheyenne Bays. No surprise there. for me at least. She got signed to the UFC, got a contract. Good for her. Can't wait to see what she does. And gained some notoriety too. The video clip of her telling Hillary Rose to get the F up when Rose was on the ground went viral. So she gained a lot of attention off of that. So good for her. Alright, so that was it for this past weekend's results. So let's move on into the news. And I just dropped both of my pens like an idiot. Anyway, first up, UFC October 17th Fight Night event booked a flyweight bout between Jessica Ai and Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade just coming off a loss to Rose Namajunas at strawweight. She's fought at bantamweight. She's gone down to strawweight. Now she's going to try her hand at flyweight against the top 10 opponent. I like that matchup myself. Per their official Instagram, Aries FC has signed both Ryzen veteran Stephanie Egger and Clara Resignuola. I didn't write down their records. Egger's not a bad fighter either. Good signing for them. UFC 255, November 21st, is going to have a flyweight title fight co-main event between Valentina Shevchenko and Jennifer Maia. That fight got booked real fast after Maia defeated Joanne Calderwood. Up next, Korean promotion Angels Fighting Championship has announced an all-female event for November 30th entitled AFC 15 War of Beauty Fighter. Didn't exactly translate that great, but you get the point. It's going to be an all-ladies event. 3 kickboxing fights and 5 MMA bouts. Looking forward to seeing who they get for that. I already passed word on to a few fighters via Twitter to go see if they can get booked for that. Let's see, that fight already happened. Bellator 244, August 22nd, Mohegan Sun. That's tomorrow night, actually. Julia Budd, 13-3, taking on Jessie Mealy, 9-4. Some of these news is a little week old, so didn't do the show last week. ARC, August 29th in Seoul. The high school girl fighter is back at strawweight. Shin Yu-jin coming in 2-0, taking on the debuting Kim Yu-jun. Looking forward to seeing Shin Yu-jin again. She just defeated her last opponent via first round TKO. So very impressive for only like 16 years old. Let's see, here's some bad news. Due to visa issues, Marina Moroz is out of her fight with Montana De La Rosa at the September 5th UFC Fight Night. Replacing her, going to be Viviane Araújo. So Montana De La Rosa actually getting a big step up there. All-female MMA event, AFL Valkyries, originally set for March. We talked about it back then. Has been rescheduled for August 10th in Spain, or excuse me, October 10th in Spain. So that event had to be canceled due to, the pandemic and everything. It got rescheduled for October 10th. Looking forward to that. They still have the 2 title fights scheduled for their main and co-main event. At the atomweight title fights, it's going to be Emily Mota versus Vanessa Rico. And the strawweight title fight is going to be between Audrey Carouche and Dana White's Contender Series veteran Mikkel Desegni. Deep 97th Impact, scheduled for September 20th at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, is going to have a microweight title fight. Mizuki Oshiro coming in 2-1 versus Saori Oshima coming in 2-1 as well. Or I think she might be 2-2 now. The current title holder, Satoko Shinashi, was not able to train hardly at all during the shutdown, so she gave up her title rather than go in unprepared. I gotta respect her for that. She came out and said, I haven't been able to train. No way I'm gonna be able to train properly enough to defend this title. So she willingly relinquished it. Much respect to Shinashi for that. Former UFC fighter Paige Van Zandt has signed a multi-fight deal with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. That was a bit of a surprise. Apparently, they offered her just a ton of money. Like, it's a multi-fight, multi-million-dollar deal. I suspect they got to be giving her percentage of whatever pay-per-view they're going to do, or online pay-per-view. Only only thing I can imagine why she would really sign. Now, Paige has said that she wanted to prove herself, that she was more than just a pretty face. I think, okay, you're not going to be much of a pretty face after a bare knuckle fight. So if that's what you want to do, that's up to you. But I just think it was a mistake for her to do that. Not to sign for a ton of money. That's not a mistake. Trying to prove yourself by getting your face smashed up, that's a mistake. Anyway, moving on. UFC flyweight Ariana Limsky announced via IG that she has signed a fight agreement, date and opponent to be announced. Actually, I have it down here later on. She's actually fighting Antonina Shevchenko in a flyweight bout at UFC 255 on November 21st. So that should be a fun one. Both fighters tend to make a lot of mistakes in their fights, so you know, she who derps last best, I guess. Moving along, former bantamweight title challenger Bethe Correia has been released by the UFC, so it'll be very interesting to see where she goes. Another fight announcement out of the UFC, November 7th fight night, a bantamweight bout between Sarah Morris, 6-6, and Vanessa Mello, 10-8. Probably a loser leaves town fight, unfortunately for both of them. There is a fight in the works for the October 24th UFC fight night between Cynthia Calvillo, 9-1-1, and Lauren Murphy, 13-4 at flyweight. I believe that fight's now official. Couple of moved fights. Sarah Alpar versus Jessica Rose Clark in the bantamweight division got moved from September 26th to September 19th, so that fight got moved up a week. And then Michelle Watterson versus Angela Hill got moved back like 2 weeks. It was supposed to be this weekend, and it got moved back to September 12th. So a couple of UFC fights got moved. UAE Warriors, I'm not sure what the numbered event is, but they have a flyweight bout between Casey O'Neill, 4-0, taking on... Dumbass didn't write down the name. Anyway, those fights are usually on their website, uaewarriors.com. Take a look at it. Casey O'Neill, you can see some of her fights from Eternal MMA on Fight Pass. Keep an eye on her. I'm surprised the Contender Series didn't try to pick her up this season. UFC Fight Night November 14th has a strawweight bout between Kay Hansen, 7-3, and Corey McKenna, 5-1. Both newcomers to the UFC. Hansen just won her UFC debut like a month ago against Jin Yu Fry. McKenna just won her Contender Series bout last week. Got signed right away. So, relatively good matchup between two newcomers to the UFC. Then UFC October 31st Fight Night has a flyweight bout between Courtney Casey coming in 9-8 and Priscilla Cachoeira coming in at 9-3. You know, Cachoeira coming in off of a big performance bonus winning knockout over Shanna Dobson. She's out of the frying pan, but hey, guess what? She jumped right into the fire. I think Courtney Casey is going to be a very tough matchup for her. This should be a good one. Then UFC November 28th Fight Night has a bantamweight bout between Ashley Evans Smith, 6-4, taking on Norma Dumont, 4-1. You might remember Norma Dumont fought at featherweight, made her UFC debut against Megan Anderson, suffered her first professional loss. Now she's moving back down to where she was at bantamweight, taking on Ashley Evans Smith, who is moving back up from flyweight. I actually like that move for Ashley Evans Smith. She looked way too drained at flyweight, and her cardio suffered as well. Moving along, Bellator 245, September 11th at Mohegan Sun. They've announced a flyweight bout between Kat Zingano coming in at 10-4, taking on Gabrielle Holloway, the Gabinator, coming in at 6-5. Holloway hasn't fought in like 3.5 years, and Zingano, of course, is coming off a loss in her last fight in the UFC. So it'll be interesting to see where both of those two fighters are at in their respective games. And then another one for the UFC Fight Night on November 14th, a strawweight bout between Olivia Hanata Souza, 14-2. She's taking on newcomer and fellow former Invicta FC strawweight champion Kanako Murata. She brings in a record of 11-1. Tough fight for both of these ladies. I very much looking forward to this one. I want to see how they do two former Invicta champs facing off against each other. That's Murata's UFC debut as well. And then the UFC fight night scheduled for September 12th. A flyweight bout between Sabina Mazo, 8-1. She's taking on Justine Kish, coming in at 7-2. I believe Mazo's coming in on a two-win run. Kish, I believe, is coming off of a loss and hasn't fought in a while either. Or she might have fought. I think she fought last year, so bit of a layoff for Kish. Should be an interesting one. Kish, though, she's going to have to get in Mazo's face in order to win this bout. Anyway, so that was it for the news. So let's move on into the UFC rankings updates. Just a real quick update here. Verna Jandiroba was added to the strawweight rankings at number 5, replacing Felice Herrig, who formerly held that spot. That's it for your rankings updates. Just a real quick one. Anyway, upcoming events. Last item for tonight, the weekend preview. 2 events going on this weekend. First up, we're going to Bellator 244 featherweight division. Julia the Jewel Budd taking on Jessica the Widowmaker Mealy. Budd coming in 13-3. Mealy coming in 9-3. Budd coming off the loss to Cyborg, where she lost her title 6 months ago. Mealy coming in off of her Bellator debut, where she defeated Talita Nogueira via split decision. Bit of an upset there. She's an underdog in this fight as well, according to Topology. Budd is the elder fighter, 37-35, so neither of these two are, spring chickens, as it were. They are the same height, 5 feet 8 inches, 172 centimeters. Excuse me, Mealy is 173 centimeters, so 1 centimeter difference. However, they have the same listed reach, 69 inches, 175 centimeters. Mealy did good against Talita Nogueira. She was the underdog in that fight. Underdog in this fight as well. And I believe that's for good reason. Budd didn't really have an answer for Cyborg, but I still believe she has an answer for everyone else in this division. That's why we're going with the Julia Budd, to win this fight. Moving along to UFC Fight Night Vegas 7. Yunos versus Edgar. Couple of ladies bouts. First up at strawweight, Mizuki Inoue taking on Amanda Lemos. Inoue coming in 14-5. Lemos coming in 7-1-1. Mizuki coming in off of 2 wins. First defeating Viviane Pereira and Invicta a little less than 2 years ago. And then coming off a successful UFC debut at flyweight over Wu Yanan via split decision just shy of a year ago. Amanda Lemos coming off a win over Miranda Granger. Before that, she had lost a bout that looks like bantamweight to Leslie Smith. That was 3 years ago. So Lemos got busted for some illegal substance, took that break between those 2 fights. Lemos is the elder fighter, 33 years to Inoue's 26 years. It's hard to believe Inoue's only 26 years old. Been watching her, seems like she's been fighting forever. Of course, she turned pro, I think, before she graduated high school, so that explains it. Lemos is slightly taller, 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, to Inoue's 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters. And Lemos has 1 inch of reach on her as well, 65 inches, 165 centimeters, to 64 inches, 163 centimeters. Lemos, she fought in the bigger divisions before this. Now she's down at, I believe this fight's at strawweight. Yeah, strawweight. So she could be bringing in a lot of, a bigger frame into this fight than what Mizuki brings. Be interesting to see, how they do as far as weight goes. Mizuki has had trouble making weight in the past as well. Not sure how much training Mizuki has gotten in at New York City. She was, with, Sarah Longo. I'm not sure how much she's gotten in leading up to this fight, if any, due to travel restrictions. But, you know, I've been having good luck picking against fighters I like. But we're going with Mizuki Inoue on this one. Then also on the card, up on the main card, a flyweight bout. Maria Agapova coming in against Shanna Danger Dobson. Agapova coming in 9-1. She's riding a 3-fight win streak over Alexa Connors and then Marilia Santos in Invicta, and then defeated Hannah Cyphers in her UFC debut 2 months ago. Dobson riding a 3-fight losing streak, first to Lauren Muller, then Sabina Mazo, and then lastly, she got knocked out by Priscilla Cachoeira 5 months ago. So Dobson needing a win here bad. Dobson's the elder fighter, 31, to Agapova's 23 years. They are the same height, 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters. And looks like Dobson has 1 inch of reach, 69 inches, 175 centimeters, to Agapova's 68 inches, 173 centimeters. You know, Agapova, her biggest weakness that I've seen from her fights, so far, is if she gets taken down and can be out-wrestled. I don't see Shanna Dobson taking her down and out-wrestling her the way Tracy Cortez did. On the feet, Agapova is super aggressive. She's strong. She has that killer instinct. Shanna Dobson is just... Look, Dobson is still around from the flyweight tough, and they're basically keeping her around to build up other fighters. Agapova, she was very smart in calling her out because she knew that. And if she can get a nice highlight reel win over Dobson the way she did over Hannah Cyphers, it could boost her profile even more. She's a huge favorite here. According to Tapology, she is a minus 850 betting favorite. Dobson a plus 525 heavy underdog. And I totally agree with those. I'm going with Maria Agapova. She just brings more into the octagon than Dobson does as far as skills go. She also brings way more aggression. She's bringing a lot of confidence. And you know what? She's been training with ATT still. I don't doubt her in this one at all. So I'm going with Maria Agapova to win this bout. Okay, so that's it for this weekend's fights. And that's it for this episode. You know, way too much news. Didn't really have time to do a whole lot of much else for this episode. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on anything discussed in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please give it a like and share it as well on your various social media platforms. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.